pit blade works.
Hey, what's up you guys, it's Silverfang, and just like that I'm back with another video. So today I'm gonna be covering Semiramis. This is one of the servants that I've been looking forward to do the most, just because like she was like one of the main servants in Fate Apocrypha. If you're gonna see, like, if you're gonna say like which were the main servants there, I'm pretty sure we'll have to say Mordred, Jane of Arc, Atalanta, and somewhere, and after that it could be either Semiramis or Astolfo, but she was definitely there. She was pretty much the right hand of Shiro Amakusa throughout the whole story. So she's pretty interesting. She's powerful too. Like, she took on Mordred. She has Hydra Venom, and if you saw my Heracles video, you know how powerful Hydra Venom is. So like, she's powerful. She's powerful. And yes, she kind of lost to, well, not kind of, yeah, she did get her ass beat by Mordred. But again, she is one of the stronger servants. So, and she's an assassin class, but she actually appears to be a caster. Like, I'm guessing she was summoned as an assassin because most of her attacks are poison. But a lot of her other attacks is pretty much magics. Like, she makes portals. Her flying garden, I don't know if that could consider her as a rider. I mean, the flying garden is technically a place and technically a vehicle, so she could possibly be considered a rider. But by the way, her flying garden is freaking powerful too. Like, it's, oh my gosh, she's strong. She's strong. They had to do like this whole ordeal to get into the castle in the first place, just to fight her. They had to use Astolfo's noble phantasm, that, by the way, neutralizes all magic. But the thing is, like, as I said before, like, she's an assassin supposedly, but most of her attacks are magic. Keep that in mind. So yeah, they had to use Astolfo in order to even get into the castle. So she's powerful. She's powerful, to say the very least. When you have a flying freaking castle at your disposal that freaking shoots lasers, like, like, yo. Oh, by the way, I think that castle also has like a force field. So it's not like you could just get into the castle to fight her. You have to find some sort of way to get past the force field, to get past all the freaking shooting, like all the lasers coming at you, in order to get into the vicinity to fight her in the first place. So she's tough. She's tough. So before we get started with today's video though, I just want to thank you guys so much for the 300 subs. I really appreciate it. And I know I haven't been all that busy, like busy with YouTube throughout this whole week, but I have a lot of stuff going on. So basically, as you guys probably know from my previous videos, if you have watched them, is that I have a baby on the way. My wife is 8 months pregnant right now, so I took pretty much this whole week to just like fix up like the baby's room. And I had to, when I say fix up, I mean like the whole shebang. I had to like paint. It's the whole, when I say fix up the room, I mean like literally fix up the room completely. So I had to paint, I had to put up the furniture, the window curtains, so like the TV, hang it up. Like, this has been a bunch of stuff. So yeah, like this week I'm not gonna be that active. You can expect from me probably like 3 to 4 videos this week, unlike my usual 7 or 8. But yeah, you can expect 3 or 4, most likely 3. I'm gonna try to put out 4, but yes, expect 3 this week. Just because I'm so busy this week is not. I'm not even joking. So as you guys know, I'm way more active than this. So yeah. So please, be patient. Like I'm gonna go back to my usual routine after I'm done with all this like prepping and whatnot. So yeah. So with that being said, I can't wait. Let's see what they have to say about Semiramis, and let's just jump right into the video.
Listen, I know you guys love your waifus and whatnot, but you're really running out of fan service picks, so I would recommend voting for one of the male characters next time. You know, add some variety to the series.
Facts.
But as you can tell, the votes were cast, and as I predicted, this episode is going to be on the Assassin of Red, aka the Queen of Assyria, Semiramis.
Like a lot of the recommendations that I get are for female characters.
I don't really need to explain the general information about the class, but if you haven't seen the last episode or any of my other ones, then go ahead and check the description for some links to those. So let's get right into this episode with who exactly Semiramis was back when she was alive, starting with her historical legend rather than the fate-altered version. If you weren't already aware, Semiramis is best known for being the only woman to have ever ruled the Assyrian Empire, an ancient Mesopotamian kingdom located just north of Egypt that represented one of the great empires of the ancient Middle East. Now, a queen was not as commonplace as you'd think back in 9th century BC. So when a female ruler of a great ancient city makes an appearance, it's bound to leave more of an impact than a king. Although it's not 100% known that she did in fact come into absolute power as the queen, it was determined that she did hold enough political power to establish change in Assyria. Even so, being a female in power is not impact enough to create a legend worthy of being summoned in the Holy Grail War. There's more to her than just being a queen. The question that needs to be answered here is, what did she do as Queen of Assyria to warrant such an everlasting legend?
Yeah.
Well, the most recent historical update on Semiramis' legend begins with her birth. It's said that she was born from the Syrian goddess Derketo and a Syrian man. However, since one was a goddess and the other a mere man, Semiramis was abandoned by both as a baby and taken care of by doves. Yes, you know, the birds that are basically just white-colored pigeons. After that, she was adopted by the chief shepherd of the Assyrian king, and a few years later after that, the governor of Syria, Anas, meets Semiramis and chooses to marry her.
Okay.
Now, this is where she begins to actually do something. Anas, who was sent away to battle, was missing his lovely wife and asked her to come to the city that he was sieging. Semiramis not only goes to the city, but also develops the strategy that helps them win the battle. This news made its way to the king, and the king became curious as to what type of woman could possibly come up with a successful battle strategy. Because remember, this was 9th century BC, so women's rights weren't exactly a thing back then. Of course, once the king saw Semiramis, he immediately fell in love with her and demanded that Anas give his wife to him in exchange for one of his daughters. Anas, of course, refused because, let's be honest, would you give her up? Probably not, right? But like, after many persistent threats from the king and knowing that he wouldn't be able to keep her, Anas went and took his own life. So the now widowed Semiramis married the king and became the Queen of Assyria.
Oh, wow.
However, within a few years the king had died, and since their son was not yet of age, Semiramis became the person in charge. During her time in power, she became known for her building projects in the form of beautiful cities, temples, and palaces. They even believed that she was behind the design of the second wonder of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. But there's no actual evidence to support that. After Babylon's construction, she decided to try to expand the Assyrian Empire by invading India and more into Africa. But it was during this time that an oracle had mentioned to her that her son would conspire to take the throne from her. This turned out to be true, but before Semiramis could be killed by her son, she decided to simply give up the power instead of trying to hold on to it. So that's essentially the historic version of the legend, at least the most recent one as told by National Geographic. There's a lot of parallels to the stories of Hercules and Moses, so I could see why she would be considered a candidate for the Holy Grail War. But the fate-altered version of the story, as you would expect, makes things a little bit more interesting. She was still born from the Syrian goddess and was still left as a child, and the doves still ended up taking care of her. She also still married Anas and ended up getting taken away by the king. But that's pretty par for the course for any legend. Someone argued that that's even pretty boring. It was after her marriage with the king that solidified her position as the assassin. It's believed that a few days after the marriage, Semiramis poisoned the king, becoming the first known person in history to murder someone through poison. So, I see. Semiramis wasn't some crazy skilled killer straight out of Assassin's Creed Origins, although that would have been pretty cool too. She's just someone who used her beauty and knowledge to sleep her way to the top,
good.
and then assassinated one person in the process.
I'm
sorry if you were expecting something a little bit more epic, but her lore isn't nearly as interesting as her characteristics as a servant. As a character in Fate Apocrypha, she differs from other assassins in the sense that she doesn't attempt to really hide her murders. She's not one of those assassins that likes to conceal their presence before going in for the kill. Instead, she's able to assassinate people by planning a set of actions in advance that will eventually lead to the outcome of death for her target. Now, considering that she's the oldest poisoner in the world, it's pretty odd that her entire arsenal is based more around magic than it is poisoning, which brings up one of her unique abilities to be summoned as both a caster and an assassin, meaning that she can use the class skills like Presence Concealment from the assassin class and item construction or familiar summonings from the caster class. Also, remember when I was talking about Jack that I had mentioned that Presence Concealment only keeps you hidden until you get ready to attack? Well, since Semiramis is a poisoner, it's technically not a direct attack on her opponent, so the Present Concealment skill can still remain in full effect even when she's in the act of poisoning or preparing to poison someone. But her background in poisoning also has its drawbacks because it limits her item creation skill to only poisons rather than other magical items and weapons that would be more ideal for other types of combat. Now, this next skill combines with her main noble phantasm to create that crazy flying base that the Red faction uses as a headquarters. This skill is called Territory Creation, and it allows casters to create a terrain that gives them the advantage in a fight. Since Territory Creation combines with her main noble phantasm, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, she is considered to have the strongest territory. But aside from being stupidly massive and can float to give them the high ground, it also has some other little features. Obviously, it's based off of the speculated historical version of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which is known to be one of the greatest engineering feats of its time, with multiple ascending tiers of gardens. If you were to pay close enough attention to the Fate Apocrypha version, you'd see that it matches quite closely to the description given to it in terms of the floors of marble, stone balconies, and lots of pillars surrounded by vegetation. But because it also carries a small army that can replenish itself, it's most accurately described as the unification of unsightly disorder and luxurious beauty. However, this isn't a noble phantasm that can simply be cast at any time. Just like Caster's super OP Golem, real-world items are required before the gardens can be created. And just like Jack's noble phantasm, Maria the Killer, conditions must also be met with those materials. Just like anything else that needs to be built, it takes time for the construction process to finish. 3 days are spent with a fixed amount of water, soil, stone, and other organic materials gathered from Semiramis' home, which in modern day would be around the areas bordering Baghdad and Iraq. And when I say 3 days, I mean 72 straight hours are spent doing an incantation that basically pieces together the mythical gardens. I say mythical because there's an added aspect of mystery, which is a type of magic that can strengthen the gardens as a fortress. This mystery comes from the fact that there's no evidence supporting Semiramis' involvement with the construction of the gardens, or that she was even around to see it when she was alive. So 72 hours are needed to create the fortress and bring it to reality. People thought that it was her brilliance that gave birth to the gardens, so many historians included it into her legend, thus combining this epic landscape with her story. Although we haven't seen Assassin fight yet, she's said to gain a significant amount of power when fighting in the gardens, much like how Vlad is able to go toe-to-toe with Karna on his home field. That being said, if she was to leave the gardens, her fighting potential would drop significantly and she probably wouldn't be able to beat anyone in a one-on-one fight. That's pretty much expected for any assassin though, especially when her second noble phantasm isn't even a close combat weapon. It's called the Shakura Ushmu, the arrogant king's alcohol. It's the same poison she used to kill the king with. This noble phantasm turns her surrounding environment into poisonous items, air and mana included. It also makes all of her attacks poisonous as well. She can even manifest the poison into chains that she can fight with, or summon phantasmal beasts that can fight for her too. But once again, that's only if she's in the gardens. All in all, the Assassin of Red appears to be a servant that is only strong in specific scenarios. In a typical Holy Grail war, she'll most likely get body, even with the skills of both caster and assassin on her side. She seems to rely very heavily on the Hanging Gardens, which would definitely be too hard to summon in a normal Holy Grail war anyways. It's funny though that all her power comes from a part of her legend that she wasn't even around for. That just goes to show once again how much the legend can really affect a servant's abilities. We've yet to see her full potential in the show, but I think we'll definitely get to see something or the other soon, especially since there's only a few more episodes left. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys on the Assassin of Red. If you want to say it in who I cover for next week's episode, yes, I said next week, not 2 weeks, then go and vote in the poll under the community section. I'm adding a special option this week due to popular demand, so don't miss out on your chance to see who you want. But as always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao.
Alrighty guys, so it's a shame he actually did this video before he saw the fight between, or before that fight was released, before he saw the fight between her and Mordred. But he did cover a lot of the points where, I mean, mostly what she did in that fight was summon the phantasmal beasts that he mentioned. So I mean, her magic was on point too, plus she can turn the whole area into poison. So that pretty much meant that Mordred was on borrowed time as soon as she stepped into that room. So I mean, if you fight her at her full potential, you know, in the garden, in a enclosed room, etc., like, you pretty much are on borrowed time. Like, I'm guessing, like, because it's Hydra poison too, like, there's little, for me personally, I haven't heard of anything that can counter Hydra's venom yet in the show. So I won't say there's no stopping it, but there's almost no way. If there's a way I don't know about, let me know in the comment section below. But from my knowledge, there's no way to stop Hydra venom. So if you fight her at her optimal setting, in her optimal condition, like, you're pretty much at the best you can hope for is a tie. That's the best you can hope for, because you are on borrowed time. As soon as you step into that room and you breathe in the air, you're pretty much on borrowed time. And the thing is, like, she conducts herself as a queen, meaning she's always on her throne. She's like, I don't even think she got up to fight Mordred. Like, I don't even think she got up her throne to fight Mordred. So I feel like her abilities would be crazy powerful if it was in the hands of, like, the typical assassin, like a very agile, very sneaky, very, like, those abilities on let's say a Hazan would be insane. Just the fact that you can turn your surrounding area into poison, including air and pretty much anything. Plus she can shapeshift the poison too. I'm assuming that's any weapon that she wants. So can you imagine that ability on a Hazan? Like, it'll be insane. It'll be insane. So the fact that she conducts herself as a queen, which is what she is, really limits her potential. But then again, as I said before, if you fight her on her optimal setting, like in the garden, in an enclosed room, hell, I don't even think you, like, even if you're like outdoors, like, she can turn like everything around you into poison. So, like, yeah, the best you can hope for when you're fighting Semiramis at her optimal setting is a draw. Now, this one thing he mentioned, which is her gardens of her flying garden of Babylon, it takes like an incredible amount of time for her to build it when she's summoned. He said 3 days, but that's not the hardest thing about it, because she is an assassin. She's very well capable of staying hidden for 3 days. She has the that the assassin skill, the detection, I keep forgetting the name of it. But yeah, that skill that doesn't allow other servants or masters to detect you, she has that skill. So it would be no issue for her to stay hidden for 3 days in a regular Grey Ward. Really, it wouldn't be an issue. But the thing is, though, the materials that she needs them from like her home country or her homeland. And if she's not summoned anywhere close, it'll be troublesome. It'll be troublesome. I'm assuming the master will have to like take a flight, then stay over there for like 3 days, then come back with the garden. I mean, it is a lot of trouble. It is. If she's not summoned in her like anywhere close to her home country, it's kind of hard thing to build. The 3 days are not an issue for an assassin. They can stay hidden for mad long. I remember when in was it Unlimited Blade Works? Yeah, in Unlimited Blade Works, right? We didn't get to see assassin until, if I'm not mistaken, like a whole week had passed, because the first day of the war, well, officially the first official day of the war, was when all the 7 masters were summoned. That was the last one was Saber, who was summoned by Shiro. They spend, well, from the time that Shiro got attacked by Lancer, that was a day. Or no, my bad. By the time Rain summoned Archer, and then Archer fought Lancer, and Lancer attacked Shiro, I think 2 days had passed in the war. Then by the time Shiro fought Berserker, and Berserker injured Shiro, then that was another day. I'm telling you, it was like a whole week where we didn't see Assassin at all. We got to see, and I think in Heaven's Feel movie was also the same thing, where we didn't see that assassin a couple of days into the Grey War. So I'm telling you, it's not hard. And the times that we did see him is because he made a move. Like, I'm telling you, it's not hard for an assassin to stay hidden for 3 days. It's not a big deal. But yeah, like, if you fighting this Semiramis in her optimal setting, the best you can hope for is a draw. So when everything is in place, when she has her flying garden, like, she's top tier. She's definitely top tier. Hydra Venom on top of it, like, she's definitely top tier. She's definitely top tier. It's a shame that he didn't wait for the fight with Mordred to take place. I feel like these types of videos, right, I think you should make them after a series is over. I mean, I know, or at least after the servant has been killed. I mean, if the servant is in place, like, you're fine. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know if there's a novel for Apocrypha. I'm assuming there is, but I'm assuming that he read the novel and that's where he gets all the information. But I still think he should have waited until, and by the way he was talking, I don't think he knew that she was about to fight Mordred, so I don't even think he read the novel, if there is one. But like, he should have waited. I feel. I know he did it by like fan vote, but those servants, I think he did the same thing with like Jane of Arc. So like, yeah, he should have waited. He should have waited. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you know anything else about Semiramis that wasn't mentioned in the video, please let me know. Do you think she's top tier? Do you think she will be able to summon her guardians in a regular Great War easily, or do you think it's like a skill that she wouldn't be able to use regularly? In my opinion, the 3 days are not an issue, but she would have to, based on what he said, she would have to leave and go to her home country and come back after 3 days, and I don't even know if that's allowed. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's possible for her to bring out the Guardians of Babylon in a regular Great War? Is it too hard? Depends on the master. I don't know. But yeah, please let me know. Anything else, any other info that you have? Next, I'm gonna be covering Shiro. It's a 2-part video, so yeah, it's I think one of them is gonna come out the day after tomorrow, and then the second one should come out the next day. But yeah, I'm not gonna be uploading that much this week, as I said in the beginning, but I'm gonna go back to my regular schedule after I'm done with all this prepping. So thank you guys so much, I really appreciate it. Please like the video, please subscribe, and again, thank you so much for the 300 subs. I really appreciate it, and as I always say, have a nice day and catch you guys in the next one.